Hello, new puppeteer. Meet Charlotte, a puppet you will control. Meet her alien friends, Maggot Cat and a certain observer. Dive deep into horrors of junk food, TV world, religion, and romance novels for middle-aged women. Keep your puppet safe at all times. Or don't. Have fun dying. That was the Steam page for Hello Charlotte. It's a pretty weird way to introduce a game to potential buyers, but it's also the best way to sum it up. After all, Hello Charlotte is what most people would call weird. At the end of the first episode, which is what I will be discussing, you'll still struggle to understand what the heck just happened. But let's back up and explain what the heck this game is, or at least try to. In Hello Charlotte, you control Charlotte, or Seth, both? I'm not even sure if I'm being honest. In this world, humans are controlled by puppeteers. Puppeteers are beings that oversee humans, and humans are also referred to as puppets. From what I gather, puppeteers are supposed to keep puppets safe until their expiration date. However, failure to do so is not always met with punishment. In some cases, it even appears to benefit the puppeteer. It all seems to depend on what the observer declares. The observer seems to be a rank higher than the puppeteer in the hierarchy of this world. They appear to be a bit like a government official of sorts. Anyways, the puppeteer in control of Charlotte is called Seth. Only Charlotte seems to be aware of his presence, and you are unable to see him most of the time. Anytime you make a decision in this game, you're really telling Seth what command to give to Charlotte, hence why I say you might be controlling Seth rather than Charlotte. But for all I know, we're really controlling an entity greater than Seth and Charlotte, who would act like a puppeteer to a puppet, so it's impossible to say who you're really controlling. Regardless, Seth acts like a parent to Charlotte, in that he's her closest, and only, guardian. Naturally, this means he worries about her well-being on a frequent basis. He still likes to tease her on occasion, though. Not much else is known about Seth. He seems to be thoughtful and caring towards Charlotte, but certain events depict him in a more cold manner. Charlotte, on the other hand, is a kind, curious, and optimistic young girl, although her curiosity can lead her to a great deal of death, so it's your job as the puppeteer to prevent this. But do not fret, for there are rewind points that you can make use of in the event that something were to happen to poor little Charlotte. Even within Charlotte's own home can things pose a threat to her existence. Upon examining the oven, Charlotte tells of the time a giant food monster attacked her the last time she used it. Although this is due to one of her alien roommates' negligence, as they had left some dangerous chemicals beside the salt and sugar. Oh, I suppose I forgot to mention them. Charlotte lives with a few alien roommates. There's Huxley, the mysterious surgeon, Bennett, the soap lover, and Aiden, the butler. Their true purpose is unknown to us, but according to Charlotte's notes, they are meant to blend in with humans in order to prevent causing a ruckus. They seem to live much longer than humans, and are a bit more interesting than them as well. For example, Bennett's true identity is not actually known to us. Bennett's just the name listed on his hazmat suit. He responds to the name though, so nobody questions it. Their diets are also very different from humans, as when Charlotte is about to eat a meal, all three of her roommates spontaneously appear beside her and criticize her choice of food. Aiden scoffs, as he sees it as a mockery of real food, while Huxley recommends eating wallpaper for it is rich in iron, but Bennett claims that soap is much better in nutrition. After a bit more chit-chat, Huxley asks Charlotte to meet him in the dissection room later, as he has a favor to ask of her. Everyone vanishes soon after. Upon reaching Huxley, he asks Charlotte to look after his lovely nephew, Felix. He lacks a sense of direction, so Huxley needs someone to keep an eye on him. So for a couple of days, and a couple of days only, Charlotte is Felix's big sister, which means keeping Felix out of harm's way, as like his uncle, he's a bit too passionate about science for his own good. That might not seem like an issue immediately, but it becomes pretty obvious when Felix vanishes during the middle of the night. Charlotte's search for Felix brings her to a previously locked door, one that Aiden warned her to stay away from. The room contains nothing but a large television. It displays static and lacks a cover glass. As it's her only lead, Charlotte leaps into the TV in hopes of finding Felix. But let's back up for a moment. You probably noticed that Charlotte lives in a rather minimalistic world. It's also difficult to say if this is a house, apartment, or an entire world, as this space seems to defy basic logic. For example, there is a present that you can find lying on the ground. Normal, right? Well, it is, until you open it, as it will then create a miniature black hole and instantly kill you. Friendly piece of advice, don't touch it. Even Charlotte's room is strange and barren, which Seth will acknowledge at the start of the game. Charlotte, however, appears to be quite proud of her room. Only a single room in the house thing fully utilizes color, and it apparently leads to outer space. According to Charlotte, that is. The only other things with color in the house are the various things living in it, and the 2 Omni-cubes found within Charlotte's room. The green cube is a teleporter, and the blue cube serves as a databank, which can provide Charlotte with minimal information about this world and its inhabitants. All 3 of Charlotte's roommates have a brief entry in the data Omni-cube, but Charlotte simply reads, "Current user who has yet to complete the educational program." Right now, it's hard to say what the educational program is and why it exists, but it could have something to do with the events that take place in the game, and why they are so strange and abrupt. But that's just speculation on my end. I don't have any concrete evidence of what it could possibly be or mean. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Okay, cool, but how does it play? Well, you impatient little strawman, sit your rosy little butt cheeks down and I'll tell you. It plays like every RPG Maker game ever made. Happy? Okay, fine, I'll talk about it some more. Hello Charlotte consists of completing the task at hand, which you can view at any time in your inventory. When you complete the current task, you are assigned another. It's a very simple, yet effective way to remind the player of what they're doing, just in case you forget, or take a break from the game. Or you just don't know what it wants you to do, because that happened to me a bit. The tasks usually revolve around exploring the environment, or solving a puzzle in said environment. For example, there's one task where you have to return to Charlotte's room in order to get a key to access the basement of her house. And don't worry, you'll go to less boring locations than Charlotte's world. After all, you'll be spending most of your time in the TV world. When Charlotte leapt into that TV, she found herself in a mysterious location. I don't know if it has an official name, but I like to call it the Bear's House. Why? Because of this. Bears are mean. You'll have to solve various puzzles in order to escape the Bear's House and move on to the next world, which I won't spoil. The overall objective is to find Felix and escape the TV world. Simple, but effective. But that's really all there is to Hello Charlotte. It's a fascinating little game, and it'll only take you about 2 hours to play through. You can download it for free on itch.io, which I will link to in the description and on screen right now. I would strongly recommend you do so if you're even a little interested. It's short, it's sweet, and there's 2 other installments. They aren't free, but they aren't very expensive either. You can find both of them on Steam. There's also a free horror spin-off on itch.io called Hello Charlotte Delirium. It's not canon from my understanding, but it may be worth checking out if you're interested. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go burn some teddy bears.